So, hey everyone, how are you all? I hope you all are good and welcome to my channel, and today I narrate a story about what if Naruto was a prodigy of the Uchiha and Senju lineages. And this is part 1 of this story, and if you want the next part of this story, so comment down fast. If you reach 50 likes, I'll upload it for you, and without making more suspense, let's get into the video. Prologue. The Uchiha Boy location. Village hidden in the leaves, Konohagakure no Sado, Country of Fire. The village hidden in the leaves, one of the most powerful ninja villages on the elemental continent, if not the most powerful, is renowned for giving birth to many great shinobi. This great village is also feared for its victory in the 3 Great Wars. Ninjas that plagued the world, and even though all the big shinobi villages ended up weakened after the wars, Konoha is the only village that stayed strong, even if it had more villages against it. This village is surrounded by a great wall that serves to protect it. Within the walls of Konoha, civilians live happily, people without the position of shinobi, who dedicate themselves to living their lives normally, without any type of agitation or change, creating a business, sell something, or just be there. But Konoha is a shinobi village, not just any shinobi village, but the most powerful one. Within this village are the people who are dedicated to protecting it, and those who live there, the ninjas, people who have gained the ability to manage chakra and with the help of it, are able to practice the shinobi branches. Just as there are common ninjas, there are also ninja clans. Generally they are families that have a special ability, and this is passed from generation to generation through their blood. Uchiha and Senju, founding clans of Konoha, but that is another matter. History. After these 2 clans created the Leaf Village, many more clans joined it, such as the Hyuga, Yamanaka, Akimichi, Nara, Aburam, and Yuzuka clans, among others. But, I think that was enough information. You are not reading this to learn about the village, but to learn about our protagonist. To know about him, we have to look at a small, but beautiful event that is happening within the village at this moment. Location. Konoha Hospital. In a room at the Konoha Hospital, there was a woman with long, straight hair, black with small touches of blue. Her eyes were really dark black color, it almost seemed like you could get lost in them and never come out. Her skin was a really light skin color, with a pale complexion, but not that pale. But well, the important thing is that this woman found herself in a situation in which appearance was the least important thing. She was giving birth. She was going to bring her second child into the world. For a strange reason, her husband was not at her side to support her. But that doesn't matter now, please, Atomi-sama. Bit a little more, said a nurse who was helping in the delivery. And what do you think I'm doing? The one already known as Atomi said in a very loud tone of voice that even though she was normally very Cortez, she believed that now was not the time to be a little girl educated. After a while of pain and screaming, a small cry was heard in the room. Doctor. It's a male. Atomi lays down on the hospital stretcher for a moment. She was really tired. How she hated the feeling of putting so much force on her belly, but it's worth it to bring her little angel into the world. The nurses quickly picked up the baby to clean him and give him to her mother. The process was quick. The nurses picked up the baby who was still crying. They took him to her mother, who took him in tenderly. Hello Naruto, it's me, your mommy, your dear mommy. You're finally here with me, and although you've only been in this world for a short time, I already love you more than anything, Atomi whispered to her baby's little ears. Who, upon hearing his mother's soft voice, calmed down and for the first time opened his little eyes, black as coal. However, they seemed to have some shine, in addition to the fact that his hair was also black and his skin was pale, not as pale as her mother. Oh, I want Shisui to see you, he will be so happy to see you, Atomi said, remembering her other son. Outside the hospital room, there was a small boy, no more than 8 years old, with light skin, black eyes and messy black hair, like his father, although he also had a lot of his mother. The Uchiha's genes are indeed strong. After all. The boy looked nervous, biting his fingernails and walking from one place to another. He had learned to control his emotions, however, this time he couldn't contain them. His little brother was about to arrive. He was so excited, he wanted to teach his little brother so many things. He knew he had to wait for that, but he didn't care. He had already waited 9 months, he can last a few more years. Shisui was taken out of his thoughts when his keen sense of hearing picked up a small cry inside the room. Although it was a cry, it sounded so tender and adorable. He knew whose cry it was. Shisui Uchiha, called a nurse, opening the door. Here. An almost choked voice shouted. The nurse just smiled when she saw how excited the child was and told him. You can come in, your little brother was just born. The nurse was surprised when she saw that Shisui was no longer standing in front of her. She turned around and found a Shisui next to her mother, seeing a small figure between some blankets that her mother was carrying. Is he? Shisui asked, trying to stretch his neck as much as he could to see the small figure between the blankets. His mother gave a little for his attitude. I was really very excited, Atomi thought as she responded with a simple yes. The woman tilted her position a little, showing the face of the little boy, who by chance was awake, perhaps experiencing the sensation of feeling alive. The little boy directed his gaze to the boy next to him. Shisui smiled. His little brother seemed to look at him with a bit of curiosity and interest, until something happened that he didn't think would happen. The little boy somehow managed to free himself from the blankets he was in and stretched his little arms towards him. Making him understand that he wanted him to carry him. "Hello little one," Shisui said as he carried him and extended one of his fingers. The little one took the finger with his little hands and began to pull his finger. "I'm your Nai-san, Shisui." He drinks only laughs in response. "I will be the best brother for you, I'll tell you the truth," said Shisui, while he watched lovingly as the baby began to fall asleep. Shisui's soul returned the baby to his mother's arms once he fell asleep. After that, Itomi was discharged and she and her 2 children were able to return to the Uchiha clan compound. 2 months later. It was a very quiet night, more than normal. Outside the village the 4th Hokage was in a cave. Next to him on a stretcher was his beautiful wife Kushina Uzumaki, a light-skinned redhead with grayish-purple eyes. She was in the same situation as our protagonist's mother 2 months ago, however, she was giving birth to 2 children. "Minato, I swear that if you make me pregnant again I will break every bone in your body," the Uzumaki shouted at the top of her lungs while she was trying to give birth to her twins. Minato paled at what his wife said, he just nodded nervously. A while passed until a small cry was heard from a child, red-haired like his mother, however, he had his father's blue eyes in addition to the spiky hair, which is also his father's. After a while of nothing. Rest, another baby was born, a girl with yellow hair like her father's, however, straight like her mother's, and deep and captivating purple eyes. Nawako Saratobi, wife of the Sandaime Hokage, 3rd Hokage, was in charge of bringing children into the world. However, you will wonder why Kushina is giving birth in a cave. Kushina is the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, the 9-tailed demon fox, because it is retained by a seal inside Kushina. Greater protection is needed at the time of childbirth, because right at that moment the seal weakens, which results in the beast inside her being at greater risk of escaping, and to prevent anyone from facilitating the escape in any way. They were in a cave outside the village surrounded by Anbu with the order not to let anyone pass. Minato and Kushina were in joy, their 2 children had just been born. Minato. What will we call them? Kushina-chan. Kushina. I've been thinking about that. The boy will be called Menma and the girl will be called Mito. Nawako. They are nice names, but it's time for you to see your babies. Just when Nawako was going to hand the babies to Kushina, a vortex appeared that seemed to make space twist. From there a masked man came out dressed in a completely black cape with a hood. He quickly cut Nawako's neck with a kunai and picked it up. At the babies, pointing the same kunai at them. Masked. Listen carefully Yondaime, stay away from the Jinchuriki. Or I will kill your beloved children. Minato. Hey wait, calm down a little, he said it cautiously, his newborn children were in danger. Masked man. Speak for yourself Yondaime, I am completely calm, said the masked man with a sinister but a little playful voice. The masked man proceeded to throw Minato's children into the air, at which point Minato lived up to his name as the yellow lightning bolt of Konoha Hiraition no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God Jutsu, Flash. Minato disappeared in a yellow flash and appeared on the wall with his children in hand. He looked towards where Kushina should be, however, she was no longer there, neither was the masked man. He looked at his children and realized that in the blankets that sheltered them, there were explosive seals that were active. He quickly removed the blankets from his children and flash. Minato appeared outside the cave next to one of his Hiraition kunai, which he had teleported to escape the explosion caused by the bomb seals. Minato looked around and realized that the Anbu guarding the entrance to the cave were fainted, some dead. In another place, you could see a chained Kushina, from whom the Biju inside her was being extracted, because the seal could not be reinforced in time after giving birth. This was much easier for the masked man, after all the Biju's chakra was extracted came the easiest part of his plan. Masked man. It's time to destroy everything, Kyuubi. Kuchius, Kyuubi no Yoko. From the entrance of the village, a giant cloud of smoke was seen. From it, 9 orange tails swung, then, a shock wave dispersed the smoke, a tremendous roar was heard, which spread another shock wave. The Kyuubi was in the middle of the village. The masked man, from a hole in his mask, revealed a red eye with 3 tomos rotating aggressively around the pupil. He looked directly into the red eyes with black slit pupils of the Kyuubi. Suddenly, the Kyuubi's eyes took the same shape as the masked man's eye, and he began to attack the village. Several shinobi tried to stop him, but even if all the shinobi of the village united, they could never match the destructive power of the most powerful beast in the world. Not even the previous 8 fused-tailed beasts can match its power. Minato watched a Kyuubi appear in the village. A leaf began to fall from a tree. He looked tenderly at his children. He was the Hokage. He would have to fight the Kyuubi and save his wife, who, if it weren't for the Uzumaki genes, she wouldn't still be alive. Before the blade fell to the ground. Flash. Minato was no longer in the clearing. From here everything is as in the original story until the moment of sealing. Minato was at the decisive point of the battle. He had defeated the masked man, who used a very strange jutsu that allowed him to become intangible and send things to another dimension. However, he was no match for the level 2 Hiraishin. Now he was in front of the Kyuubi, who was subdued by Kushina's diamond chains. Who was surprisingly alive and with the strength to hold the Kyuubi with her chains, which are almost indestructible and drain chakra, and of course, also that of a Biju. Minato was determined to use a Kijutsu, forbidden technique, to seal the Kyuubi again, this time on his two children. Specifically he would use the Grim Reaper's cursed seal, which would allow him to seal the Kyuubi, but at a cost, his soul. It is at that moment when the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, arrived and told Minato Sarutobi. Minato, wait. I'll make the Reaper's seal. Minato. But what does Sarutobi-sama say? You shouldn't do it, after all I am the current Hokage, it is my duty to give my life for the village. Sarutobi. Minato, unlike me, you are a young man, plus you now have a family to take care of. I am already old, and I have been Hokage for more than 50 years. You are just beginning to live your dream. I can't let you take it away from you. Besides, I want to see my beloved wife who is now in heaven. Please don't insist and let me do this to me, will you? Minato. It's okay Sarutobi-sama, he said it with his eyes a little crystalline. Thank you for your sacrifice. Sarutobi just smiled and started making hand seals at high speed. Snake, boar, ram, hare, dog, rat, bird, horse, snake. I high-five and exclaim. Shiki Fujin. Location. Uchiha Complex, a few minutes before the release of the Kyuubi. Shisui. Exclaimed Itomi, who was in the kitchen. Can you please put Naruto down? Shisui came down with Naruto in his arms. Mira out Odo, younger brother, it looks like dinner is ready. Shisui said. Little Naruto nodded his head, as if he understood what was happening. Mother, look what he was teaching little Naruto. Shisui placed Naruto on the ground while he snatched a bottle from his mother's hands and then placed it a few meters in front of Naruto. Little Naruto stared at the bottle under the watchful eye of his mother, who seemed confused. Then Naruto's little stomach growled, indicating that he was hungry. Naruto looked at Shisui, who nodded, and then Naruto looked at the bottle and began to crawling towards him. When he reached it, he grabbed the bottle and started drinking the milk that was there. Itomi opened her eyes a little. Was it serious? 2 months old and she's already crawling. Itomi looked at Shisui, who smiled proudly. So you taught him to crawl? Itomi asked, looking at her eldest son, who nodded. Yeah. Shisui said proudly, I read in a book that babies take 7 months to crawl, so I wanted to try Naruto. I put him on the floor and stood in front of him. 1 minute later, he found a way to get into that position and started crawling. So you didn't teach him, he learned on his own, Itomi said, looking at Naruto, who finished his bottle and started to finger. Shisui thought about what his mother said and she was right, she didn't really teach him, so he became a little crestfallen. His mother laughed about it until Ruoer. The thunderous roar of the Kyuubi was heard. Huh? And that? Asked Shisui, who looked out the window of her house while his mother picked up Naruto. At that, Shisui opens his eyes wide as he sees a giant fox with 9 tails destroying the village from afar. Itomi looked out the window and saw the Kyuubi destroying the village. She quickly wrapped Naruto in a blanket and then placed it in Shisui as if it were a bag, where in the front was a small Naruto, who began to sob a little. Because of the loud noise. Shisui, his mother called, I need you to take Naruto to the Uchiha shelter. I'll go later, I'll go see the head of the clan to see what we do. Shisui nodded without hesitation. His mother was a formidable kunoichi. He knew that she was going to be fine in the meantime. He had to take Naruto to the Uchiha safe zone, the shelter. Shisui was jumping from roof to roof with a small Naruto in a small improvised bag created by his mother. Due to the shock waves that the Kyuubi created, some buildings collapsed, as well as the roofs. He jumped onto the street. When the roof he was on collapsed, he saw a large row of rubble in front of him. He tried to find another way, but it would only make the journey slower, so he had no other option. He had been working on this new technique before his mother announced to Naruto. She started a small sequence of seals and said. Ram, monkey, rat. Shunshin no jutsu. Body flicker technique. Shisui's body began to blink, and like magic, he appeared on the other side of the row of rubble that blocked the path. As they passed the rubble, a large wall of dust rose, the result of the 4th Hokage's summons falling on top of the 9-tailed beast, causing another small shock wave. It covered his and Naruto's eyes and jumped high towards another roof. In the distance he could see a little boy saving another girl from being crushed. The boy looked about 2 years younger than him. He knew him. He was the proclaimed Uchiha prodigy after him, Itachi Uchiha, son of Fugaku Uchiha, leader of the clan, and his wife Mikoto Uchiha. The girl that he had only seen a couple of times in the clan was Izumi Uchiha, one more member. At that moment he had an idea, so he approached the two boys. As he approached a little further, he could see that Itachi was carrying a bag like his, well, two bags like his, in which he could see two babies who were crying. Fortunately, Naruto had fallen asleep strangely, perhaps because of the milk. Hey. Guys. Shisui shouted, capturing the attention of the two boys. Itachi. I think I know you are Shisui, the Uchiha prodigy, Itachi said in a monotone voice. Shisui. I didn't know he was famous, Shisui said, rubbing his head, but that's not the important thing. You're heading to the shelter, right? Asked. The two boys just nodded. Well, I have an idea to get there quickly, but I need you to trust me, okay? The two boys nodded. After all, there is not much they can do. Shisui touched the shoulders of the two boys and said, Shunshin no jutsu. Shisui, Itachi and Izumi appeared in front of a door, which seemed to lead to an underground room. When they went down, they were surprised to find that their mothers were there. Mother. Shisui said when he saw his mother there, at his side a woman with long black hair, two bangs that framed her face and black eyes, clear signs of the Uchiha clan. She was Uchiha Mikoto, mother of Itachi, and apparently also mother of the two boys that Itachi carried with him. The boys approached their mothers. Izumi separated to see hers location. Outskirts of Konoha Shiki Fujin. The feeling of coldness and heaviness filled the air as the Shinigami appeared behind Hiruzen like a spectral figure. Shinigami. What do you wish for, mortal? He asked with some annoyance. He didn't like mortals calling him for his nonsense. Hiruzen. Please, Shinigami-sama, I want you to seal half of the Kyuubi's chakra in one of those children you see on the altar and the other half in the other child, please, Shinigami. You know the price, right? Hiruzen. Yes. He responded resignedly. The Shinigami extended his arm, which crossed Hiruzen's stomach as if it were a ghost, who did not feel any pain. The Shinigami stretched his arm until he touched the Kyuubi. After touching it, he withdrew his arm, also removing a blue mass in the shape of a nine-tailed fox, which he introduced into Menma. The Kyuubi reduced its size considerably. Then the Shinigami tore out the other half of the Kyuubi's chakra, introducing it into Myth. The two twins were formed a seal of 8 trigrams, in which the Kyuubi was sealed again. The Shinigami picked up his arm, and when he took it out of Hiruzen, he also picked up his soul. The Shinigami disappeared with a sinister smile. Since he had claimed a new soul, Hiruzen's lifeless body fell with a dull thud to the ground while Minato grabbed him. Fortunately, Kushina was still alive, just passed out. The next day. The Natomi and a Shisui were leaving the shelter of the Uchiha clan, along with a Mikoto and an Itachi. Shiusi and Itachi were still carrying their little brothers. Naruto lay awake, but calm, while Itachi's brothers were still asleep. Mikoto. Itachi, please stay here with Shisui until me and his mom come back, okay? Let's go to a clan meeting, Itomi. Take care, Shisui, okay? The two boys just nodded. At that moment they feel that someone is approaching them. It is Izumi, who strangely comes with a smile. Izumi. Hello guys. Shisui and Itachi. Hello. Izumi. And those faces. Itachi. Have you already forgotten what happened yesterday? Izumi. No, but I think it's better to forget it. Shisui. I think she's right, yesterday was a pretty bad event that I honestly don't want to remember. Itachi just nodded. Izumi. Hey, Itachi, are they your little sisters? Itachi. Little sister and little brother, Itachi said, looking at his little brothers, who had already woken up. Itachi showed his little brothers, a boy with hair slightly pulled back that ended like a small duck tarsier, while the girl had black hair that curiously also ended in two strands that resembled a duck's butt. Izumi. How cute. Can I charge them? Itachi. No, Izumi. Why? Itachi. They're going to start crying. Izumi. I don't think they're going to cry, are they, little one? She said, picking up the boy whose name was Sasuke, who immediately began to cry. Izumi, embarrassed, returned him and tried to pick up the girl, whose name was Kiyomi, but when he tried to touch her, she began to cry too. Shisui. Wow, Izumi. Okay, I officially give up. Izumi remained crestfallen until she looked at Shisui, who was playing with his little brother Naruto. Izumi. Shisui, is that your brother? Said somewhat hopeful Shisui. Yes, he is my Odo. Izumi. Can I charge it? Shisui. Sure. Izumi carried Naruto, who looked at her with curiosity. Izumi brought him her finger. Naruto took it with his little hands and started shaking it while laughing. Izumi. How cute. The girl cooed as she looked at Naruto. Itachi. Hey Shisui, do you think that when they grow up they will become friends? Shisui. I'll be honest with you, I think so. As you can see, Naruto is somewhat sociable being so small. I have no doubt that he would give his life if he became a shinobi. Itachi. Yes, maybe Shisui. Maybe 5 years after the Kyuubi attack. Location. Village hidden in the leaves, Konohagakure no Sado, Country of Fire. 5 years have passed since the terrible event, the moment in which the nine-tailed demon fox attacked Konoha. This event marked the lives of many people because they lost loved ones, family, friends, partners, well you know, beloved. Beyond Aim's children, at first, were greeted with hatred and fear, however, after Minato himself cleared the poor dwarf minds of the civilians, he explained to them that the Kyuubi was actually being kept in line by his two children and that they should be recognized as heroes, and of course, the civilians changed sides and began to praise the little children. It was even announced throughout the village when these two took their first steps how exaggerated the civilians were, but for them, praising them was the least they could do for their heroes. Some other things have happened in these 5 years, one of those is the tension between the proud Uchiha clan and the village in general. Apparently, a person, possibly someone with high command in Konoha, gave the order to the Uchiha not to help in the attack of the Kyuubi. They obeyed, a serious mistake. After the Kyuubi was defeated, it was revealed that it was being controlled with a Sharingan. Bloodline of the Uchiha clan, as expected, suspicions fell on said clan. Little by little, the Uchiha clan was losing power in the village, thanks to the influence of the civilians who were on the Konoha council. The Uchiha clan compound was moved to a place a little away from Konoha due to suspicions about the Uchiha clan. The clan members did not like this, however, it is not like they could do much. But let's leave this aside, how about we go with our protagonist location? Uchiha clan compound, Konohagakure no Sado. The little Naruto was running through the streets of the Uchiha compound. For his age, he seemed to be a little fast. He had a small smile adorning his face. That small smile overflowed with emotion. Shisui had called him to a training camp. Naruto he had asked him to please start training him in the shinobi areas. To be honest, Shisui was waiting for Naruto to ask him that, so he responded affirmatively to his little brother. His mother replied this until he remembered that Shisui he also started his training at that age. He gave them permission, but obviously told them to be careful. Naruto unfortunately had to wait a few more weeks because Shisui had missions that he had to complete. After all, Shisui was 13 years old and he was already a jounin, so missions abound. However, today he had the day off so he could train his little brother. Shisui was in a forest clearing. That was the place where he had summoned Naruto. After all, he had already taken him there. In that place he trained with his best friend, Itachi, who turned out to be someone very good despite his young age. Itachi was currently a chunin. However, Shisui had a sneaking suspicion that the Anbu program had its sights on him. He was brought out of his thoughts when the footsteps of a small child were heard. Naruto. Nai-san. I'm here, Naruto shouted as he entered the training field. Shisui. Oh, but it's my little out Odo, are you ready for your training? Naruto. Of course. He said while giving a big smile. Shisui. Okay, today I plan to teach you two things. The first of all will be the art of kunai and shuriken, known as shuriken jutsu, and the other thing is a surprise, right? Naruto. Okay. Shisui. Well, here he said as he handed him a single kunai. Be careful, do you want that thing? Mom will scold me if anything happens to you. Naruto. Don't worry Nai-san, for now I'm not going to try anything as long as you don't teach me how. Shisui. Okay, look carefully. Naruto looked carefully at Shisui, who picked up a kunai. He threw the kunai at high speed, and it hit the center of a target that was in a tree a few meters away from him. Naruto looked at the kunai in amazement. It only took him I try to hit the center. Shisui. The secret is that you must set your target very well, then to throw the kunai, you bend your wrist a little, and when you release it, you give a small impulse with which the kunai will gain speed. You will practice this until you can hit it. Wide is fine. Shisui couldn't finish when he saw that Naruto stopped paying attention to him and grabbed the handle of the kunai. He moved his arm back and bent his wrist so that the kunai went from having the tip turn backwards to having it turn forwards. He gave a small impulse and released the kunai. The air whistled due to the speed at which the kunai was going. Until it hit right in the center of a target that was in front of Naruto. Shisui took in what just happened. His little brother had just thrown his first kunai and it hit the target. He only managed to let his jaw drop and his eyes widen. Naruto. Nai-san, I think I made it, said Naruto looking directly at Shisui, who still hadn't come out of his trance. Shisui. Do it again, please, Shisui said with a really serious voice. Naruto was a little intimidated by the voice, but he obeyed. He removed the kunai that he had hit from the target. He placed himself in the previous position and did the same procedure to throw the kunai, which was again inserted into the center of the target. Naruto. Nai-san. Naruto asked. Shisui was not moving at all. She was really scaring him. Shisui was looking at him seriously. Shisui's serious look changed to one of happiness and he hugged his little brother while shedding an I'm-style tears as he said. Shisui. My out Odo, my little out Odo, you are a prodigy. Or am I crazy? He asked himself. Naruto. Nai-san, you're squeezing me, he said while trying to get away from Shisui's bear hug. Shisui. Okay he said as he released it. This time we are going to try with shuriken, but I am going to test you, so this time you will do it without explanation, understood? Naruto just nodded his head and grabbed a shuriken that his brother offered him. Naruto obviously noticed that the shape of the shuriken was different, so he cleverly thought. Naruto thought. The shape of the shuriken is different from that of the kunai, this time there is no handle to grab to throw, however, I don't think the throwing process is that different, however, the way of holding it must be different. Shisui watched with satisfaction as his brother went on to grab the shuriken with two of his fingers, the middle and the index to be exact, he watched carefully as his brothers moved his arm backwards. Naruto, thoughts. I already have the grip, now the throw, I guess I have to throw it with force, but this time, I will bend my fingers a little to add rotation to the shuriken and keep it in the air, in addition, I will move my arm straight in a horizontal line, and just when my arm is almost straight I will throw the shuriken, we'll see what happens, the little Uchiha said in his mind. He doesn't know the great logic he makes in his mind, Shisui watched impressed as the shuriken flew rotating until it crashed into the center of the target with a thud. Shisui. Bravo. You really do it very well. Naruto smiled at his brother's praise, Naruto admired Shisui, Shisui was talented and invented a jutsu that the entire village used, the ninjas of course, Shisui was named by his own nickname, Shisui of the flickering body, also with at only 13 years old, he was already superior to most of the jounins in the village, so receiving praise from his brother made him feel very good. Naruto continued throwing shuriken and kunai for almost half the day, to the point where Naruto seemed to make no effort to throw the kunai and shuriken, it was time for the surprise lesson. Shisui. Alright Naruto, that's enough, it's time for your surprise lesson. Naruto approached Shisui with his eyes shining with excitement, he really wanted to know what his Nai-san would teach him. Shisui. Naruto, I'm going to teach you how to awaken your chakra, he said with a somewhat serious look. Naruto. I jumped with excitement, knowing that I was finally going to learn to use chakra. Shisui. Naruto, I must tell you something, you are going to learn to use chakra, but you must understand something, from now on you will follow the path of the shinobi, so you must be prepared, I know that you are very small, and that you will hardly understand what you are told. I will say, but Shisui kneels, grabbing Naruto's small shoulders. Look out Odo, you may see shinobi as great people, but you must understand something, we shinobi see ourselves as being prepared for everything, for the loss of a being. Here, to sacrifice your own pride, to sacrifice what you love most for the good of the village, but I want you to never forget something, no matter how much you have to forget and feel bad things, never forget that there will be people by your side, and that if they are no longer there, they will never stop taking care of you elsewhere. Naruto, use your skills for good. Today I have seen what you are capable of doing, you can do great things, be someone great Naruto, but protect the people you swear by. To do it, don't try to live so wisely, without falsehoods or fears, you will end up hating yourself, I hope you are ready, after all I trusted you, surprise those who were born yesterday, share with those of today, and an example for those of tomorrow, do you understand? Naruto was completely shocked by that, really, Shisui wasn't usually this serious, Naruto didn't know what to do, Shisui told him that he trusted him a lot, and that he believed that he could do great things, Naruto started to shed a few small tears. Shisui. Are you crying? I asked worried. Naruto. No yes Shisui just gave a small smile at that. Shisui. Okay, it's time for you to learn to channel your chakra. Naruto. Yes. Shisui. Well first tell me what chakra is. Naruto. Chakra is the fusion of spiritual energy and physical energy, it is the basis of all ninjutsu and jinjutsu, in addition to being the main tool of those who practice the shinobi branches. Shisui. Very good. For some reason I'm not surprised that you know that. Okay listen, you're going to get into the lotus position and you're going to be completely calm, you're practically meditating until you feel a slight warm sensation in your stomach, you're going to feel a little tug toward that feeling, then you have to spread that feeling throughout your body. You understand, don't despair if you don't get it the first time, it takes most people a full day to get it. Naruto. Yes. Naruto sits in the lotus position and begins to meditate on the floor, it wasn't long before he had to go home, but he was determined to find his chakra, even if it took more than one day to do so. 2 hours later. Shisui. He's been there for more than 2 hours, I wonder if he could do it, awakening the chakra is difficult, even for prodigies like Itachi, however, his brother was already able to surprise him once, deep down he wants me to surprise him again, Shisui was surprised when he felt a chakra rise alarmingly, he looked towards Naruto, who had a very unremarkable frown. Until Naruto was surrounded by a really powerful blue aura, the ground began to crack, the color of Naruto's chakra. It was really strange, instead of a light blue color, it was a dark blue, really dark blue, plus in full view it felt very dense, Shisui activated his Sharingan and was surprised at what he saw, Naruto's chakra was spreading slowly. He saw how Naruto's chakra aura extended to the trees and cracked them until they broke. He was about to tell him to stop until he saw that Naruto's aura dispersed and compressed into a small blue flame dark in his stomach until Naruto falls tiredly on the ground. Shisui approached Naruto and picked him up, taking him home quickly. Location: Naruto's house. Hitomi was in the kitchen preparing food for her children. Shisui had agreed to train Naruto today. She actually wanted her second son to be as talented as Shisui. Well, maybe that is expecting too much, but she trusted her son. She was taken out of her thoughts when a Shisui with a Naruto in his arms entered the house, immediately stopping what he was doing to help his son. Hitomi. Shisui. What happened to Naruto? Shisui. Don't worry, mom, it just awakened his chakra. Hitomi. But why are you showing him that now? You could have waited a little longer, but anyway, tell me how it went. Shisui. Naruto is very intelligent, plus he learns things very quickly, and even though he does the exercises very well, he is always able to do them better over time. It is really surprising. Also, when he awakened his chakra, I could see with my Sharingan that this one was much denser than the others I have seen. I think that comes from dad. Hitomi. Yes, it could be, he said, and then activated his own Sharingan and observed Naruto's chakra. He could see the same dark blue flame that glowed in Naruto's stomach. Hitomi caressed her son's straight hair. 2 strands framed his face, in addition to having it very little tousled and ending in other small strands that went to the opposite side. Naruto could really be so powerful. Hitomi just smiled sweetly and told him he gave his son a small kiss on the forehead before taking him to his room and leaving him on his bed to rest a little. Shisui, help me with dinner, Hitomi said to her son, who nodded. 30 minutes later, Naruto was confused. At one point he was at the training ground when he felt a small tug in his stomach, then he felt a great heat throughout his body, then everything was black and he woke up in his bed. He didn't think about it anymore since he heard them talking in the dining room of his house. He left his room rubbing his head a little. It hurt, but not much. He saw his mother and brother having dinner. Naruto. Good afternoon, Oka-san, said a sleepy Naruto coming out of his room. Hitomi. Oh, hello Naru-chan, how are you? Naruto. Well, I just have a little headache, nothing more. Sit down and eat and tell me how your training went, Hitomi said with an angelic smile. Naruto spent the entire afternoon talking to his loving mother, who only listened to him with a smile. She loved listening to her son, although her son did not seem to have as much imagination as children his age, but she did not seem to care. After all, she loves her son above all, without forgetting Shisui, of course. Time skip. The next day. Location: Forest Training Ground. Naruto was at the training ground that he used yesterday. He was doing physical training. Shisui had told him that he also has to train his strength and endurance. Naruto did not reply to this. He knew that he had to do this. It has been about 2 hours doing exercises. For some reason, Naruto barely felt tired. He has been doing squats, sit-ups and push-ups. However, his body didn't hurt. But he was still a little tired. Shisui left that he had gone to get some things for his training. However, he did not return. Naruto. Shisui left half an hour ago and hasn't returned. Naruto stopped his training train when he saw someone approaching from the shadows. He thought it was his brother until he saw the person's full figure. It was a black-haired boy with black eyes, a classic example of an Uchiha. His hair was divided into 2 strands that faced his face. His hair ended in a low ponytail that reached the middle of his back. And he also had marks under his eyes that resembled dark circles. Shisui had told him about someone like him, Itachi. So you're Shisui's little brother, Naruto. Nai-san told me about you. He said that you always have a stoic face and that you are the greatest representative of a bad sense of humor. Itachi didn't even change his face at that statement. Itachi. What are you doing here? Naruto. What else can I do in a training camp? Itachi. Well, you can watch your brother train, Naruto. I prefer to train myself. He said it a little suspiciously. He just met this person, Itachi. And what are you training, may I ask? Naruto. Well, right now I was doing some physical training. My Nai-san told me that that was important. However, he left and hasn't come back. Itachi. I see. Itachi turned his head towards a tree. Naruto looked at him confused until he also looked towards the tree, realizing that his brother was standing on the branch of a tree watching Naruto and Itachi's interaction. Shisui. I see that you have already met Naruto. Meet Itachi, the prodigy of the Uchiha clan. Itachi. So I have a terrible sense of humor, huh? Shisui paled a little. Itachi was staring at him. He felt some fear. Shisui. Hey, calm down a little, you know. Itachi. That doesn't matter now. I want to know if you're really going to train your brother or you just brought him to see. Shisui smiled at this. He just plucked a leaf from the tree and said to Naruto. Shisui. Look out Odo, yesterday you awakened your chakra. Itachi opened his eyes a little at this. Shisui continued, now you are going to work on your chakra control. You see, you may have already awakened your chakra, however, you are not capable to control it, so if you learn to control it, it will be easier for you to do jutsus, and at the same time they will use up less chakra, you understand? Naruto just nodded his head. Shisui. Very good, what you are going to do now is the first chakra control exercise. It consists of you having to stick this tree leaf on your forehead using only your chakra. I want to test you, so you will understand the exercise yourself. Naruto nodded again. Shisui handed the leaf to Naruto, who picked it up and sat on the ground. Shisui. Look at this, Itachi, Shisui said, drawing the attention of the boy who sat next to Shisui on a rock. Naruto, thoughts? Well, according to what I learned yesterday, channeling chakra requires great concentration, so that's what I should do first. Shisui wants me to stick this leaf to my forehead. Maybe. I have to concentrate more chakra on my forehead, which will make the blade stick, at least that's what I think. Naruto began to concentrate to channel his chakra. He quickly felt it, the chakra flowing throughout his body. He quickly imagined more chakra concentrating on his forehead, then he stuck the blade to his forehead. It adhered as if nothing to Naruto's forehead, and it stayed there for a long time. Shisui watched with pride as his little brother mastered the first chakra control exercise the first time. Itachi, for his part, had to admit that he was a little surprised. Someone who, like him, mastered this exercise the first time, however, he could feel that Naruto he has more chakra than the old ace. So mastering that exercise should have been a little more difficult. He surreptitiously activated his Sharingan of 3 tomos each. He could see the small dark blue flame that Naruto had on his belly. Itachi. That's strange, Itachi thought. Usually the color of chakra is a very light blue, however, this one seems to be a very dark blue. Shisui. Apparently he did it, Shisui whispered to the hatred of Itachi, who nodded. Naruto opened his eyes and stood up, the blade never moved from its place on Naruto's forehead. Naruto. I did it, Nai-san, said Naruto with a big smile. Shisui was about to say something until he heard applause coming from Itachi. Well done, Itachi said, approaching Naruto. How about we move forward a little, he said, approaching a tree and starting to walk on it, as if the tree itself were the ground. Naruto looked at Itachi surprised. Naruto. Okay, that's surprising. Itachi looked at Naruto with a small smile. Itachi. Well, from what I see you are a little genius, so let's see if you can figure out how to do this exercise, he said with a slightly challenging tone. Naruto noticed the tone Itachi was using and smiled defiantly. Naruto. Very good, I'll try it, Shisui. Let's see who's the teacher here. He said somewhat angry. Itachi had stolen his little student. Itachi. Please, Shisui, I just want to participate in this too. Naruto approached the tree and then looked at it again. Naruto, thoughts? Okay, Itachi climbed the tree using only his feet, so it can be known that he concentrated chakra in his feet to climb. Naruto closed his eyes and focused his chakra on his feet. He tried to climb the tree, but he slipped. Naruto, thoughts? Okay, this exercise is not as easy as it seems. I guess I slipped because I concentrated too little chakra in my feet. It's okay, this time I'll concentrate more chakra and see what happens. Naruto approached the tree. He tried to climb it. He put one foot on the bark, then another. Naruto was literally standing on a tree, however, the bark suddenly broke, making Naruto fall. Naruto, thoughts? But what the hell? Oh, mom would scold me if I ever said that in public, but anyway, I guess I fell because I concentrated too much chakra. So how do I know how much chakra I have to concentrate? I have an idea. Shisui and Itachi watched as Naruto approached the tree with a determined look. Naruto placed one foot on the bark of the tree and stayed like that for a minute. Then they watched as Naruto began to climb the tree without problems. Shisui and Itachi smiled. Seeing that he had managed to climb the tree. Naruto climbed to the top of the tree and admired the view a little before coming down and staring at his two masters. Shisui. Very good, Naruto, you have managed to master the second chakra control exercise. I must admit that I am surprised. Most genins find it difficult to do what you just did. Now, before moving on to the next chakra exercises, you are going to go up and down the tree again and again, but with a leaf stuck to your forehead, you are going to train your chakra control a lot. Because soon you are going to learn your first jutsus. Naruto got excited at that. Naruto spent a week practicing chakra control. Generally he did it in some trees that he found around, since Itachi and Shisui also had to use their training field, of course, although ABC went to practice his aim, which he perfected little by little. Location. Patio of Naruto's house. Hitomi was looking out the window at Naruto, who was stuck on the branch of a tree. He was upside down, with some tree leaves stuck to his forehead, arms, and some on his legs. He turned to see that Shisui was entering through the hunting door, coming from a mission. Shisui. Hello Oka-san, how are you? She said while giving her mother a kiss. Hitomi. Well honey, tell me how it went. Shisui. Everything is fine, but hey, where is Naruto? Itomi. Naruto is in the patio, he said, looking again at the window that pointed to that place. Shisui approached a concentrated Naruto, who opened his eyes just as Shisui was about to scare him. Shisui was surprised by this. Did he sense me? He asked himself. Naruto. Nai-san. Little Naruto shouted to go hug his brother. Shisui. Oh, hello out Odo, I see you were practicing chakra control. Naruto just nodded. But tell me, are you ready to learn your first jutsus? Naruto. Yes. I'm completely ready. Shout. Shisui. Very good, let's see what I'll teach you first. Okay, I guess you know the Bushin no Jutsu, cloning jutsu. Naruto nodded. Will you teach me that Nai-san jutsu? No, Shisui answered simply. Naruto frowned. Naruto. But you were supposed to teach me. Shisui. I'll teach you a version of this, look, I'll explain. The Bushin no Jutsu is a jutsu that costs very little chakra, so people with a lot of chakra for their age find it difficult to learn it, as I have already told you, and I'm sure that Itachi too, your reserves are a little big for your age. Which makes it almost impossible for you to learn Bushin. Naruto nodded in understanding. Shisui. Instead of the Bushin no Jutsu, I will teach you a variant. I will teach you the Kage Bushin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu. This jutsu, unlike the original, creates completely physical clones by distributing your chakra equally with the created clone. That's why this jutsu is considered a forbidden one, due to the large amount of chakra it uses. Follow my hand position. Understood, I assume you know what to do the jutsu. Naruto nodded. Shisui placed 2 fingers of each hand, the index in the middle, in a cross position. Naruto just imitated him, channeled his chakra and shouted. Kage Bushin no Jutsu. 2 Narutos appeared next to the original, they were completely identical. Naruto Clone 1. Huh. Maybe they just summoned us. Naruto Clone 2. Apparently so. The original Naruto just looked at his clones in amazement. If they seemed real, they even talked to each other. Shisui called, clearing his throat a little, making Naruto and his clones turn to look at him. Shisui. As you can see, Naruto, your clones are completely physical and also have their own consciousness. These clones have a special quality, which is memory translation. You can remember and learn everything that a clone experiences. Understood. Shisui also taught Naruto the Kawarini no Jutsu, substitution jutsu, and the Henge no Jutsu, transformation jutsu. Time skip. One day location. Naruto's house. Naruto was reading some books with his clones. The books talked about the history of Konoha and stuff. He knew he was going to need them when he started the academy next year. He was immersed in his reading when he turned to the side in his room. There was a book lying around which simply said the word Uchiha. He assumed it was a book about the history of this clan. He turned the book over and saw a strange title. Sharingan. Naruto thought. He didn't give it any importance for now. I'll read it later, he thought. Naruto went to the kitchen of his house. He passed through the hallway and saw a photo of his mother and Shisui when he was little. He saw that a piece of the photo was missing. He thought of only one thing. Naruto. Odo-san, father. Naruto continued going towards the kitchen. He knew his mother was there. He had a question to ask her. Itomi was preparing dinner as usual. He felt his little son entering the kitchen. He had a look of enigma on his face. He sensed that his son wanted to ask him a question. Naruto. Oka-san, I want to ask you something. Itomi. Tell me, honey, what's happening? Naruto. Who is my father? Naruto was really getting to the point. Itomi remained somewhat silent when faced with that question. Naruto. Did he abandon us? Did he love me? Naruto blurted out question after question. I just want to know. Naruto culminated. Itomi knew that she couldn't hide that information from her son. She would take advantage of the fact that Shisui was on a mission to tell him. Itomi. Naruto, I assume you read the story of the Uchihas and the Senju. Naruto didn't know why his mother started with this, but he had an idea. She just nodded. Itomi decided to get to the point. Itomi. Naruto, your father's name was Tenshiro Senju. Naruto was surprised at that. His father was not an Uchiha, he was a Senju. The Uchihas and the Senju were always in fights, however, his parents were from both clans. Itomi. If you want, I can tell you how we met. And no, said Naruto, I just want to see it, a photo or something. Itomi. I have something better than a photo, look at my eyes. Naru. Naruto looked into his mother's eyes. He saw a fully mature Sharingan, 3 tomos rotating slightly in each eye. Then the tomos began to rotate aggressively as they unified and changed the pattern of the eyes. The 3 tomos became a triangle with a black dot in the center. On each side of the triangle, a kind of semicircle appeared which protruded from the tips of the triangle. Finally 3 black dots appeared around the triangle, 1 below and 2 on each side. Naruto gasped when he saw his mother's eyes. Itomi. Tsukiyomi whisper. Naruto's world seemed to change, the kitchen and the house disappeared, the sky turned red, and instead of the sun, there was a completely black moon with the pattern that was previously in his mother's eyes. Naruto grabbed his mother's hand when he saw small white lights fly in front of them. Naruto saw how light turned into his mother, who now had a somewhat large belly. At her side, the second light turned into a man with black hair with light brown eyes. His hair was a little messy and he was very tall. The man bent down and began to grab his mother's belly as if he were caressing her. "Hitomi. Look Naru, that belly is you. I was pregnant with you and that man over there is your father," he said watching the scene. Naruto just watched the scene. "So that you are not confused, there are two items in the Tsukiyomi, the one with Naruto and the one in the memory that is being shown in the Tsukiyomi. The Itomi of the memory I will indicate like this. Itomi, Tsukiyomi, I hope it remains clear. Itomi, Tsukiyomi. Are you going to say something to Naruto?" Tenshiro. "Yes, after all they may be the only ones who tell him Itomi, Tsukiyomi. I just hope you come back from that mission," she said while shedding a few small tears. Tenshiro. "Listen, calm down, I'll try to come back to see my little Naruto born. Itomi, Tsukiyomi. Please." Tenshiro approached Itomi's belly and whispered some words. Even though Naruto was somewhat far away, he could hear them perfectly. Tenshiro. "Hello Naruto, I am your father. I know that maybe you don't recognize me now, after all I don't talk to you every day like your mother does, but I want you to know that even though you haven't been born, I love you so much. I wish to be able to lull you and tell you so many stories. I don't care if I have to get up early to change your diaper. I will be there for you when you need it most, and if by chance I can't be with you, I want you to know that I will always love you, no matter the whichever way you choose. Now I must do my duty, but I will always carry you in my mind. After all, your mother and Shisui are the best thing that has happened to me. I love you Naruto, and I will always love you." Naruto was completely stunned. His father really loved him so much, but he is no longer. He never met him, but it hurt him so much to know that he is dead. His father, his beloved father. "Oh dad," Naruto whispered. Hitomi was still looking at the memory in front of her. She really loved seeing her late husband, even though it's not real, but she heard her son sob a little. She crouched down and hugged him. "Hitomi. Do you see Naru? Your father loved you very much Naruto." "Why yes Hitomi. I also love you very much." Hitomi noticed how Naruto scratched his eyes. Naruto. "Oka-san, my eyes are burning." "What?" Hitomi said while turning off the Tsukiyomi. The world returned to normal. Now they were back in the kitchen. Hitomi. "Naru. Let me see your eyes my love." Naruto raised his head. Hitomi gasped as she saw Naruto's red eyes with a tomo in each eye. "Sharingan." Hitomi whispered in surprise. It really hurt her so much that her father was dead. Naruto's Sharingan glowed bright red as the tomos rotated lazily around his pupil. Sharingan, Eye of Feelings. The Sharingan, one of the bloodlines of the Konoha clans, specifically the Uchiha clan, is classified as a Dojutsu, eye technique, because it manifests itself in the eyes. The Sharingan is also known as the eye that reflects the feelings, because unlike the Dojutsu of the Hyuga clan, the Byakugan, the Sharingan does not awaken at the birth of an Uchiha, but rather, it awakens mainly when an Uchiha loses something he wanted or loved. Simply, when an Uchiha feels this type of pain awakens a special chakra in the brain. This chakra is red. It itself affects the optic nerve, which causes the color and shape of your eyes to change, giving way to a red eye. With a black pupil and some tomos that rotate around the pupil, the number of tomos evolves up to 3, but enough of the explanations, let's go with our little Uchiha location. Naruto House, Uchiha Compound, Konohagakure no Sato. "Naru, let me see your eyes my love." Naruto raised his head, showing red eyes with one tomo spinning. The eyes glowed red hot and the tomo were spinning lazily. Naruto. "What's wrong Oka-san?" Hitomi. "Oh Naru, I'm sorry about that Naruto." "What's wrong Oka-san, why are you apologizing?" Naruto was really confused, however the burning in his eyes decreased a little, but it was still felt. "Naruto," Hitomi said while taking Naruto to a mirror that was in his room, "you awakened the Sharingan." Naruto looked surprised at the new eyes he had. He turned to the right, towards the wall. He could feel that he could see everything. He was able to detect the smallest details. He could see the small ant that was walking along the wall. He was able to see even their little paws. "Naruto, look at me," Hitomi said, making her son look at her again. "Forgive me, okay?" Naruto. "Why?" Hitomi. "For making you feel so much pain Naruto." "Oka-san, don't worry, what I wanted was to see my father, and you fulfilled that dream for me. I can't do anything but thank you, and I may be hurt by Oto-san's death, but I want him to know I'll be fine, okay? Don't worry." Hitomi just smiled and kissed her son's forehead. It was a bit mature, but I guess that was a good thing. Naruto. Oka-san, how do I turn off my eyes?" Hitomi. "Do you notice that the chakra is leading to your eyes? Just stop sending chakra towards them." Naruto concentrated. He quickly found that his chakra was going to his eyes. He only decreased the amount of chakra until he felt his eyes stop burning. Hitomi. "And how did it feel to have the Sharingan for that moment?" Naruto. "I felt like I could see everything, that I was able to capture the smallest detail of things. I felt so capable." Hitomi frowned at that, she wanted to test her son, she didn't want her son to get addicted to the Sharingan and become arrogant. Hitomi. And did you feel all-powerful? No, Naruto simply said, I can deduce that the Sharingan is a good tool, I don't know it, but I think it is a great tool, at least I can feel it, but Shisui taught me that I should not depend on anything, he told me that I should specialize in different branches, and that, if one does not work, perhaps the other will, the Sharingan is good, but not all-powerful. Hitomi smiled, it's good that you say that, Naru, after saying that she coughed a little. Naruto. Okasan, is something wrong with you? Hitomi. No, Naru, don't worry, nothing's wrong with me, go to your room if you want, study a little more, next year you'll enter the academy. Naruto nodded and went to his room. When Naruto left the room, Hitomi closed the door while coughing a little harder. Just hold on a little longer, Hitomi said in his thoughts. Naruto was in his room until he remembered something, the book I saw before talked about Sharingan, Naruto thought. Naruto picked up the book and looked for the page that talked about Sharingan. Here it is, Naruto said, Sharingan, rotating copying eye. Naruto began to read. The Sharingan is the Dojutsu of the Uchiha clan, they generally awaken it when they are in a situation where they feel pain. This awakens a special chakra in their brain that affects the optic nerve, causing their eyes to change shape and color. The Sharingan generally awakens in an Uchiha who has had training, and its maximum evolution is the 3-tome Sharingan. Naruto stopped and thought, my Sharingan had only 1 tomo, I guess it's in its first phase. Naruto continued reading. When the Sharingan is awakened, it grants the following abilities. A reinforced vision ability to see the smallest details. Anticipation of movements, photographic memory by being able to see all the enemy's movements. The Sharingan gives you the ability to predict the movements that the enemy will use, because you are able to see their chakra network, you are basically able to know what the enemy will do even before he himself knows it. Ability to copy any ninjutsu, jinjutsu, even any taijutsu. Ability to see the different chakras, ability to create truly powerful jinjutsus with just eye contact. All these abilities improve as the Sharingan has more tomes. Wow, thought Naruto, the Sharingan was really so powerful, but I have to understand that it is a tool, I have to know how to contain myself, I will ask Shisui to help me control my emotions, although I think Itachi is better for that, I want to train, I want to become strong, no, I'm going to become strong. Time skip. 1 year. Several things have happened this year. Naruto trained with Itachi and Shisui chakra control. When Shisui and Itachi found out that Naruto awakened the Sharingan, they began to train him in the characteristic taijutsu of the Uchiha clan, the intercepting fist, which you began to use. Train it once you awaken the Sharingan, however, Naruto wanted to make some modifications to it, so he used the shadow clones for that. He managed to complete the exercise of walking on water, the only thing he had to do was concentrate the chakra in the feet and keep it in constant movement, since water, unlike the wood of a tree, is in motion. Naruto continued practicing his aim, he was able to throw several kunai at the same time and hit the target, the same with the shurikens. Naruto also trained his physique and his resistance, his senju side was really bearing fruit, Naruto's physique was growing exponentially, in addition to the fact that their physical strength was far superior to that of children their age, the senju. Despite not having a really extensive chakra like their cousins the Uzumakas, the Senju have a really strong and resistant body, the same applied for Shisui, after all, he was also the son of Tenshiro Senju. Likewise, Naruto's speed grew, but what was most appreciated was the increase in his chakra reserves. He was now able to create 8 shadow clones without getting tired, which was a great feat, and another point to highlight was the new tomo that rotated in his Sharingan, that's right, his Sharingan evolved to have 2 tomos in each eye, if before his eyesight was good, now it was a charm, he could see various moving objects and predict their trajectory, he was capable of throwing a kunai. Throw another one and hit the kunai that he threw later and make it hit the target, he was practicing doing that without his Sharingan and it wasn't going that bad. But now let's move on to something serious. Naruto was really worrying about his mother's state of health, it was scaring him more than normal, before it was just the cough, however, then came the fever, the headaches and what he liked least, the fainting. Hitomi has gone to the doctor many times, they had given him medicine for his illness, however, nothing helped. Naruto really hoped that his mother would recover, she was almost everything to him, the person who loved him unconditionally besides Shisui, the person who loves him above all things, his mother. Location. Training field. Naruto was practicing his kunai shooting with Shisui and Itachi, the shadow clones have been very useful to him, he was working on his new version of the Uchiha Interceptor Fist, he has learned about the history of shinobis, something useless in his opinion, but well, it was necessary at the Ninja Academy, although he didn't know why. Naruto threw the kunai which was aimed right at the center of the target, although in the end it was a few centimeters away from hitting the target. Shisui noticed this, to tell the truth, it was strange that he didn't hit the target, he looked at his brother's face who looked thoughtful. Shisui. Hey out Odo, is something wrong with you? Naruto. I'm worried about mom, Naruto said, crestfallen. Shisui had a sad look, he couldn't deny that he was also worried about his mother. Itachi noticed the gaze of his friends, he almost considered Naruto a little brother, he had truly earned their affection, and Shisui was his best friend in every way, the least he can do is support them. Itachi. Calm down guys, Itomi-sen will be fine, he couldn't be sure of that. The boys continued with their training until they were finished, they were heading to Naruto's house, Itachi was accompanying them. The boys stopped their walk when they saw that there were many people gathered around Naruto's house, it seemed like something was happening. Naruto, Shisui and Itachi accelerated their pace, Naruto felt a slight pressure on his chest, as if he knew something bad was happening, he quickly made his way through the people and entered his mother's room, she was in her bed. She looked paler than normal, and with small dark circles under her beautiful onyx eyes, she was breathing hard. Naruto came to his mother's side and knelt down. Naruto. Oka-san, Oka-san. Naruto shouted a little desperately. Itomi opened her eyes, they looked duller than normal. Naru, he whispered, it's good that you're here, he coughed a little, I'm sorry you have to see me this way, he smiled, I feel like I don't have much time left, cough, but at least cough, I'll be able to tell you. To you and Shisui my last words. Naruto. Oka-san, don't say that, I know you can get out of this, just hold on a little longer, please. I said the same thing a year ago, I guess my time is up, Itomi said. Naruto. Oka-san, please Itomi. Naru, listen to me please Naruto. But Shisui put his hand on Naruto's shoulder and shook his head. Naruto just looked at his mother and nodded for her to speak, small tears beginning to fall from his face. Itomi just smiled and began to recite his last words. Itomi. Shisui, I can't express how proud I am of you, I always loved you just like Naruto, I never forgot you, you were the first, and I will never forget when I held you in my arms for the first time, your father and I we loved so much even before you were born, I just want you to know that I will never stop loving you, and I hope you take care of Naruto, I love you, okay? Shisui just nodded, he couldn't hold back his tears. Naru, his mother called, unconsciously squeezing her son's hand, who also tightened his grip. Itomi. You are one of the best things that has happened to me, I am also very proud of you, I could see what you are capable of doing, you are such an adorable and loving child, I love being the mother of someone like you, protect the people you love, with all your heart, just like Shisui, never fall into hatred, see through deception, see through things, see through people. The mind is capable of deceiving you, the eyes cannot. Naruto nodded, tears falling like waterfalls. Itomi. Shisui, Naruto, never forget that the world is a cruel place, where there is darkness there is light, but where there is light there is darkness, but, above all, where there is hate there is love, and where there is love there is hate, however. I will never be able to feel hatred towards people like you, your father, and I will be watching you from wherever we are, remember that your mother loves you with all her being. A last sigh escaped Itomi's lips, before dying with a smile on her beautiful face. Naruto could only stand there and cry, Mikoto, who was there, only managed to hug the little boy and comfort him as best he could, while Itachi comforted Shisui, who was crying silently. Naruto opened his eyes, his 2-tomo Sharingan was active, the tomos were still, until a third tomo appeared, then turned aggressively and proceeded to turn off. At night Naruto cried himself to sleep, his mother's death would depress him, but he will move on, he will do it for her. Time skip. One day, a day had passed since Itomi's death, it had rained all night, it seemed that even the sky was crying for her departure. Naruto was barely waking up, his eyes were still red from crying, apparently he had run out of tears, he sat on the bed and gave a long sigh, there was no point in continuing to cry, after all he couldn't stay there like a statue. She got up from her bed and brushed her teeth, in the mirror she could see the dark circles under her eyes, apparently she couldn't sleep well either, she headed towards the kitchen, it was so empty, usually her mother would be there cooking, I would turn around and give him that beautiful smile, and then say hello Naru, how did you sleep? Naruto smiled at that memory, he walked towards the dining table, there was some food on it, with a note that said for Naruto. Naruto assumed that the letter was left by Shisui. Hello Naruto, I know that you are touched by yesterday, but we must move on, unfortunately I had to go on a mission, so I got up early to make you breakfast, I will be back late, and remember that your test is almost approaching. Uchiha clan, with love Shisui. Naruto remembered the fireball test, if he succeeded, he could wear the Uchiha clan logo on his clothes, that excited him a little. He just had breakfast and immediately went to the training field he always used. This time he was going to train alone, his brother was on a mission, and Itachi entered Anbu, so he also had missions raining down on him, he arrived at the training field and made 10 shadow clones, that did take part of his chakra. But it would be fine. He spent the entire afternoon training aim and his own style of taijutsu, he also trained some battle techniques with the shadow clones, something like combos or surprise attacks, the training made him forget the pain a little. Until he realized something, after his mother died, he felt his eyes burning. Naruto picked up a kunai and activated his Sharingan. He saw in the reflection of the kunai, red eyes with 3 tomos that rotated calmly around the pupil. She was surprised at that, perhaps her Sharingan evolved due to the pain of losing her mother, that is something cruel. He could feel like he could see everything around him, his vision was almost perfect, at least he felt that way. He approached a specific area of the training field. It was an area in which there were different targets in different sectors of the clearing, such as in the trees in front and behind him. Some targets were higher than others, and curiously, there was a target that was located on the back of a rock. Naruto had seen Shisui and Itachi do the same show over and over again. Each time they did it, they had their Sharingan activated. Naruto prepared himself for what he was going to do. Naruto picked up several kunai and put them in a kunai bag, then he picked up another 8 and picked up 4 in each hand with a closed fist. He took a deep breath and jumped as high as he could. He threw the first 4 kunai. He could see them move on camera slowly. He could know where they were going to hit, so he threw the other 4 kunai. 2 of the 4 kunai recently thrown bounced with another 2 kunai in motion changing their trajectory. Then he picked up 4 more kunai from the bag he had filled. He threw them, he took out another 4 and threw the kunai in the same direction as the others. This time 3 of the kunai bounced with another 3 changing their trajectory. All the kunai hit the different targets, one target was missing. The one behind the rock, he picked up 2 of the kunai that he had left. He threw one and looked at it carefully. His Sharingan shone analyzing the trajectory. The tomos of the Sharingan rotated slightly until he threw the other kunai with great force. The recently thrown kunai bounced with the other kunai right at the top, changing its trajectory downwards, hitting the center of the target that was behind the rock. Just at that moment it fell to the ground gracefully. His Sharingan glowed brightly and then deactivated. Naruto looked surprised as all the kunai were firmly stuck in the center of the target. Naruto. So this is the power of the Sharingan, he said in his mind. The Sharingan is a great tool, but remember, you can't depend on anything, he thought. Naruto continued training and then finished with some physical training. After that he returned to his house. A few minutes later Shisui arrived. The days in the house now had a somewhat cold and depressive atmosphere, however, they knew that sooner or later that would pass. Some things have happened since those days, like, for example, when Naruto happened to be left alone in the house, Mikoto, Itachi's mother, would come to check on him, and going a little further, sometimes she would make him dinner. And when I say sometimes, I mean all the times that Naruto was left alone. Shisui and Itachi continued training Naruto. They told him that once he takes the Uchiha clan test, they would teach him more fire-style jutsus. After all, fire is the element of the Uchiha clan. Well, I guess the day has come. Naruto was walking through the streets of the Uchiha compound with Shisui. Both of them were going at a calm pace. Naruto now spent most of the time with a stoic face, courtesy of his teacher Itachi. He was heading to the small port that was next to the Naka River. Shisui had told him that he took the test in that place, that possibly this Itachi with his father, who was the leader of the clan. The two continued walking until in the distance they saw a small port that gave way to a river. They approached that place and saw Itachi with his father, Fugaku, and there was also Mikoto. However, behind them there were 2 more people. Well, 2 children to be exact. Naruto and Shisui came down to them and greeted them politely. Mikoto hugged Naruto. Fugaku. Well, Shisui, I suppose you brought your brother to take the test too, right? Shisui. That's Fugaku-sama, this is Naruto, my little brother, he said, while nodding to Naruto to introduce himself. Naruto. My pleasure, Fugaku-sama, I am Naruto Uchiha. Fukagu nodded in response, at which point he called out to the 2 little people behind them. Sasuke, Kiyomi, come here and introduce yourselves. Fugaku called the 2 children who ran towards him and introduced themselves. Kiyomi. Hello. My name is Kiyomi Uchiha, it's a pleasure to meet you, she said with a cute smile. Kiyomi was a girl who had long hair for her age. At the top of her hair, 2 small strands fell back, her hair reached to her waist. She was wearing a high-neck t-shirt with a beige skirt that it reached a little above his knees, and finally he had blue shinobi slippers. Naruto just nodded and introduced himself. Naruto said simply. You're kind of boring, Kiyomi said, pouting. The boy who was behind introduced himself. Hello, I'm Sasuke Uchiha, said the boy. This one apparently is calmer than his sister. Sasuke was wearing a long-sleeved high-necked shirt, black shorts, and blue sneakers. Naruto nodded and introduced himself the same as he did with Kiyomi. Sasuke just nodded. You 2 are quite boring, Kiyomi muttered. Fugaku. Well, guys, pay attention, said Fugue, so that the children turned to see him. You are going to learn the characteristic jutsu of the Uchiha clan. You are going to learn the Katen Kakaku no Jutsu, fire style. Great fireball jutsu, so prepare yourselves. All of you have already managed to awaken your chakra. Kiyomi and Sasuke have already done the exercise of carrying a leaf from a tree on your forehead, and you have managed to master the exercise of climbing the tree. Naruto, can you tell